No, they're showing they were just showing the second half stats for Buffalo versus the first half. My God, man! Like my
Yeah,
God.
it's
Jekyll and
crazy.
Hyde up there.
Yep. Are you live, Scoop?
I am live.
All right. I am also live here on YouTube. All right. Well, we got about 21, exactly 21 odd minutes until Sunday Night Football starts. So let's get you caught up on everything that happened during the day as quick as we can. Rapid fire, baby,
I like
before
this.
Sunday Night Football. Well, the reason why we wanted to do the show earlier is also I know you guys are in the East Coast. That's reason one. Reason
Yeah.
two is, I mean, we don't care. We're football after hours. We always do the shows late. Number two is the Eagles did win, so that also made it kind of null and void for us to talk about Vikings Cowboys until tomorrow. You're just like, whatever. Let's rapid fire, do a show now, and if Sunday Night Football is good, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I guess we start with. I mean, we'll talk about the injury shortly, but Bo Nix did something very confusing just now, and I haven't listened to it. So let's at least start on some positive note before we get to the sad stuff. Bo Nix being a weird human. Let me see if I can get my audio working.
You were the underdogs. What did this team show against a really difficult Packers team?
They're really overdogs.
But you were the underdogs.
I just don't understand what overdogs means. I don't know. I don't get it. What's the point? What is overdog? What? Like, I don't understand. I don't know if there's anything we can say on this other than what was the point of that. It's just Bo Nix being Bo Nix. I mean, Brandon, you've experienced it. Has he said anything that weird before in Oregon?
Not that I can remember. I mean, even his post. I mean, even when they gave the post game, the instant reactions after the game when he was at Oregon, it was mostly like your typical like PR answers and things like that. It was, I mean, some of Bo Nix's good old charm kind of sneaks in there, but yeah, he to me, Bo Nix, like in the next 20 years is going to be like your suburban white dad, where it's just going to be the kind of person he is. Um, it's weird that I share the same birth month and year as him. I'm a week older, exactly a week older than Bo, but um, I
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't think I've heard an answer that unique in a long time. And the thing is, it's unique, but it's also like when you give unique answers, usually it's more like long winded. His was just 2 or 3 words, and it was the
Two
weirdest,
words.
and it made no sense. How can something make no sense in 2 or 3 words? I
Um,
don't.
we'll get to the Seattle Seahawks because I can talk about that in more than 2 words because that didn't make sense today. Quick Devontae Adams update from Sean McVay at the podium. McVay said that Adams injured the same hamstring again. Adams was optimistic. McVay sounded pessimistic, but he said I wouldn't rule out him playing on Thursday. So who knows? Let's continue on the injury train. We got some awful
Mhm.
injury news today. Patrick Mahomes, I don't know what it is what to say other than this was a bad year and it turned into a literal and physical nightmare because the likelihood that Mahomes plays next year, we were going to talk about them. Hey, we're going to reset. We're going to talk about them in the offseason, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to see what happens, what moves they're going to make. Now, long and behold, there might be in a market for a quarterback. This is another year of just I don't know. I don't know what more other than that to say. Other than Scoop, this is just a living nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, you and I kind of said almost the same thing, where it was just this team went from sometimes just you have that type of a year. You're
I'm
gonna
gonna pause. I'm gonna pause you really quick. Shane Hansen just our boy Shane, who isn't here. He said Bo Nix with a Jameis Winston type quote for real.
yeah,
That was
pretty
his
much.
actual reaction to that. All right. My,
It's pretty accurate.
my apologies, Scoop. Please continue. I just thought that was worth putting in here.
Yeah, But I mean, like I was starting to say, we pretty much, you and I kind of said almost the same thing as the show right before the show kicked off. Basically, it went with that one situation in about in a couple of hours. It went from wow, okay, the Chiefs, their quote unquote streak is over, but this is just kind of a it's a not a blip on the radar, obviously, but it's going to be they're going to reset this offseason. They still have all the core pieces that they need, and they'll reload on some talent and be back to doing their thing to some degree next season. Now with a torn, especially this late in the season, like it's one thing if, like, obviously you never want to have somebody tear their ACL, but if your quarterback tears their ACL at the beginning of the season, like I mean, we've seen players do it, both quarterback and not. Typically those guys they get most of the offseason or I'm sorry, they get by the time they get through most of the offseason, most of their recovery and rehab is largely done. And then they have most of the timeline to work with the normal schedule going into the next calendar year to ramp up and be ready for training camp, preseason, yada yada yada. This really changes that, because now all of a sudden
it's December 14th.
Yeah,
we're talking 2027.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is now all of a sudden, because even let's say he does become healthy at the end of toward the end of next season. Depending on what they do have at quarterback through the beginning of that season, they may not be in a position to be making the playoffs next year with whoever they have. And if that's the case, would they want to rush him back to, for something that looks like an outside shot and potentially run the risk of, even causing even longer damage? Or on the flip side of that, if they bring in somebody and they are doing well, they might similarly say, well, if we already are in a position to make the playoffs, why are we going to rush somebody back? It puts them in a position where there's really neither way really is it going to be able to, in my vantage point, at least from what I can see off the rip, in neither scenario is there going to make a lot of sense for them to try and rush this guy back. So even if he is quote unquote ready to play toward the end of next season, you got to almost wonder, is it going to be worth it for them to rush him back if his timeline really does take him to that point where the question is of whether or not they should start him only becomes relevant in the second half of next year, which is probably somewhat plausible based on what we normally see.
Yeah, Brandon, I mean, again, it's a nightmare. This is a nightmare.
It's probably it's something that especially for a quarterback, like, when you hear about it for a wide receiver or a running back, it's tough for them too, and for any player, you take a long time to come back, obviously. But when you talk about a superstar quarterback, a guy that's going to walk into the Hall of Fame, and you realize that, we talked about it, like we were saying, we talked about all year how bad their struggles were all around, more or less, and then this is the cherry on the cherry on top of the crap sundae. And you think about it this way too: at the earliest he would come back, he'd still be missing at the minimum the first 2 months of the season. So by that point he's already missed like 9 games, and if that team is 1-8 or something like that, then obviously you're not, and that's just, and that I mean, I don't know if that'll happen, we don't know yet, but what he does for that franchise, for not just being the franchise quarterback, but to be one of the GOATs and to be a true leader on and off the field, and always says the right thing, does the right thing, is a guy that wills his team to win. Even a lot of games this year where it didn't look good for large portions of the game, he would will the team to win in the third, fourth quarter and kind of bring them back to life. And to not have your biggest leader on your team, not just your quarterback, but your biggest leader for pretty much almost all of next year, or at least what we think all of next year is just it's an insane thing to think about. It's like I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, a torn ACL is just it's the worst football. It's the worst sports injury you can have because it takes away.
Other than your head, that's the
Yeah,
one.
other than your head, but in terms of length, it's the worst sports injury you can have, and it's literally if it's not the if it's not your head, obviously it being the leg is just whenever you see non-contact injury, we know exactly what that means. It doesn't be spelled out for us, and when it's that these injuries literally impact the trajectory of franchises. It's not like it's
a player's career, everything.
It's not it's not like it's a finger, it's not like it's a foot, whatever it might be. It is a torn ACL that and like I said, we've had another one today that happened quite literally like right after
right
that.
now. Yeah. And then do you want me to continue on that, Brandon? Because we can
go ahead.
We can shift. So with Parsons, next year it's the same story. But the issue and the stuff that we've talked about all year long is that Micah Parsons came in and he became the engine that ran this defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, any hope that we had through Toyotathon and beyond of this team being a contender feels almost null and void at this point because of just how important he is to what they do.
No, yeah, that's what's I mean, it's different because it's like with the Chiefs, it's not different, but we knew with the Chiefs, your season was over, and now going into next year, your season more than likely will probably be over too. But you go into now this Micah Parsons torn ACL, and they were still a playoff team before he got here, but we said after last year that they needed another piece to kind of get them over that hump. He was that piece. And now for it being gone, now the Packers are, I think, just back to where they were at step one. It feels like that Green Bay kind of just put all their eggs in one basket and just, put the sun, moon, and stars on him to lead them pretty much to a title run. But the worst part is you already lost Tucker Kraft for the year, and now losing Micah Parsons, so literally losing your two biggest players on either side of the ball is. I mean, and I know Josh Jacobs has been great. I know Jordan Love and Toyotathon, but Tucker Kraft this season was your best player on offense, and so to lose your best player on one side of the ball and your best player on another, I don't see how Green Bay can compete at this point. I mean, we talk about how wide open things are. But after that injury today, I can't see how Green Bay competes going forward. Like, I mean, they might still win their games. They're still a good enough team to win, to win out or to win, two of their last three games. But come playoff time, I don't know if what they have right now is going to be good. Because we said that a lot of their games, were altered this year by Micah Parsons' presence, by that defensive line, for him being the anchor on that line. So now they don't have that. You don't have the game plan for that anymore, obviously. So it just makes a lot, like a world of a difference to not have to worry about what side of the line he's coming off of, because he likes to jump around a little bit. So it really impacts your game plan. So I'm just thinking I mean, it sucks for both teams because both teams lose such great players, but the Micah Parsons one in the short term hurts more, and the Patrick Mahomes in the long term hurts, way more. So it's the same story for both players, but one hurts a lot more now, and one's going to hurt a lot more later. So it's
that's the most we've said the word hurts, and not talking about Jalen Hurts in a while.
I don't have to.
You don't have to today. Well, Scoop, Packers next week travel to their rival against the Chicago Bears on Saturday night. we look ahead to that and then moving forward, I mean, I assume you have the same concerns as Brandon. This is as tough as it can get.
I mean, I definitely do. I mean, granted, are they going to go up against perhaps the most talented Bears team that they've seen in however many years? Absolutely. That being said, I will say, and we've all said it, I'm still not a believer in the Bears passing attack.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Nope.
So I'm not saying this will be, I'm in no way saying it's going to be quote unquote easy. And the Packers are still a top 10 defense on the season. I understand that the defense that they have now is not offense as well. I understand that neither one is the same one the same one with which they started the season. That's hard to say. But, again, they won today. They won last week in Detroit. They won 2 weeks ago in Detroit, rather.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to look at what they have done and be horrendously, I'm not going to say concerned, because obviously I am concerned, obviously, but the next couple of weeks, I mean, they're facing teams that I feel like, if not quote unquote should be, at least they shouldn't be at a major disadvantage, I would say.
Right. But looking long term for the playoffs, those concerns come to pass.
Okay, I'll put it this way: do the concerns come to pass? Yes, but again, you like you said, you mentioned the playoffs, and if I'm looking at the teams that they're presumably going to face in the playoffs, now again, we don't know in what capacity, we don't know seedings yet or anything of that nature. So I'm speaking in kind of a general matter here, right?
Right.
But roughly we largely expect that the 6 other teams that are going to be in the playoffs with them are the Rams, Seahawks, Niners, Eagles, Bears, and Bucks. And just looking at that, there isn't really a team that I look at and think that the Bears have a decided disadvantage or mismatch against them. Do I love what I'm at the Packers?
The Packers, yes.
Yeah, my apologies.
Yeah. No, you're okay.
So, and until I see that, and again, there might be one that I'm just overlooking right now, but I'm looking here at the information that I've got in front of me about all the teams in the NFC, which I tried to compile before the show. And as I sit here looking at everything, I mean, the quote unquote, if you want to say obvious weaknesses that the Packers have, which the thing that I hit on them for a few weeks ago was the run blocking, and then to a lesser extent the pass blocking, and then to an even lesser extent, or to a somewhat lesser extent, the rushing defense. But if I look at a team that has, or if I look for a team, I should say, that has the areas of the least, like the least, what's the word I would use?
Where I worry, I guess. I know where you're going.
I'll put it this way: the teams where the things that I hate to the least degree. I'll put it that way.
That's a good way to put it. Yes,
I would say Green Bay is in that conversation. Just because, again, and some of that is a manifestation or a microcosm of where we are with the teams that we're going to be seeing in the playoffs, right?
Right.
I still think Detroit is better than some of the teams that are going to get in the playoffs. And I don't look, but obviously the fact is, because of the teams, obviously the NFC South is going to see at least one team get in automatically. Even
what a mess that is, even more with New Orleans today. Oh my Lord.
Yeah. Is Tyler Shuck a good quarterback?
No, well, I don't see anything that tells me NFL starter. I really don't. I've watched enough of it where I don't see anything.
I think he is a decent quarterback that is made to look better by his offensive coaching with Kellen Moore.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Kellen is great. So right now the Lions are on the outside looking in, correct?
Yeah,
Before
according to Pro
tonight.
Football Focus, they have a 35% chance of making it to the playoffs.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous. Scoop, do you mind if I switch you to the AFC side for a second?
No, not at all. Not in the slightest.
Okay. So on the AFC side, the one team I wanted to discuss tonight was the Patriots, because are we so as concerned as I am, the word is concerned today, of that defense against Buffalo? My question is, does it really matter? With how we've had this kind of labeling of conversation before of like defensively, a lot of these teams are just not very good across the board. But with New England, I mean, they got roasted in that second half.
I'll put it this way. I think it matters. Now, the degree to which it matters is where I think you can pick next, because I'm not a fan of, like I said before, the Patriots are mostly Drake May and Hail Mary, and I don't mean the pass. Basically, I don't love much that they have outside of Vrabel and May. That being said, there are a lot of teams that have made playoff runs where I didn't like much beyond their coach and their quarterback, because those two things covered up for the stuff I didn't like. So that's what makes them hard to know what to make of them, because typically there's either at least one thing I either have questions about at least one of those two things, coach or quarterback, or there's some sort of specific area that I question or that makes me have issues with them. I have the issues with almost the whole roster outside of Drake May and Coach Vrabel, but those two have done so well that it has it's kind of like gravy on Thanksgiving. It's kind of just covered up for the other stuff when it hasn't gone well.
Right. It's masking it.
Right. So, and I just don't exactly know, the question is going to be, where those things manifest themselves. Or rather if they do, because I still think that the Patriots are definitely, for an 11-3 team, I think they're very much an exposable 11-3 team.
And I will say to kind of caveat that, I did say this is a team that can hoist the Lombardi Trophy. I still feel that way, but again, as we've talked about every week, 1 week I can feel that way about a team, and then the next I'm just like, what the hell?
I'll add this. You saw about as clean of a game as you'll see from Josh Allen today. Yeah. And you saw about as messy of a game as you can see from Drake May today. And with all of those things combined, the Bills won by 4, and they pulled it out of their ass at the last second. So I think what you have to ask is, how likely is it that those two things are going to manifest themselves again, where the Patriots are going to face a team that does everything the best possibility that they can for at least the latter part of the game, and the Patriots themselves do everything pretty much as poorly as they can. Now, it's concerning to see it for the first time, but I think the likelihood of this situation manifesting itself again is fairly limited. So I have the concerns, but the level of the concern for me is not through the roof just yet.
Yeah, no. Brandon, where's your level of concern on New England after today?
It's definitely creeped up. I mean, listen, we all said, division. I told you guys this as the game early on. We're like, oh, the Bills are crap. I'm like, watch, they're coming back. Like, I can just feel that. The Bills aren't going to go away that easy. And as I'm watching the second half of that game today, especially after our blowout, I was watching that second half.
JJ McCarthy just threw a pick. It got tipped by the Cowboys defensive line, and it was an interception. That is the microcosm of his season.
Yeah. Wait, hang on. Back up. I'm confused. So
he threw the corner was running at him on the right side. It was a corner blitz.
Basically threw it right to him.
Threw it basically right in the corner's hand. He tipped it up, and then the Cowboys got the ball. That's like the microcosm of them right now. But anyway, continue, Brandon.
Yeah, no, the Cowboys are gonna have a free win tonight instead of the Vikings helping us out. But it's
and you wonder why we. And by the way, you wonder why we decide to record right now. Just saying. Anyway, Brandon, continue.
Like it's insane how, I look at the Patriots and I'm like, I feel the same way. Like, can they win a Super Bowl? I think they can. But then at the same time, I'm like, a Super Bowl team at no point in any season, at least not that I can remember, allows 5 straight touchdown drives. Not like 1, 2 or 3 straight, yeah. But I've never seen 5 straight touchdown drives. And what's weird is with that defense today, it almost feels like in the second half they had they at least they thought they had such a big lead that they just sat back the whole second half. I'm like, are you guys actually going to play any kind of defense? Or are you guys just content? I almost feel, I know they weren't doing this, but just by the way it just feels like they were playing almost prevent defense the entire second half. I'm like, the hell are you guys doing out there? Like, I was shocked at what I was watching. Just every play just felt like a big play. Every snap felt like a big play was about to happen. And the only way now that I hesitate when I look at the AFC playoff picture and I hesitate on New England is look at what Jacksonville. I mean, Jacksonville just played the Jets, but Jacksonville is starting to really find a groove offensively. Like
and by the way, we like Houston. Offensively, they are slightly picking it up, but defensively, they're one of the best in the NFL, right? We like Houston as well for those reasons. So,
sorry.
Like I was gonna say, what really worries me about New England come playoff time, it's not their offense because their offense can score, even though it's a bunch of random guys outside of Drake May, but it's that defense. If you're gonna go up against,
are you kidding me?
What?
Is Minnesota this dumb? They ran a fake, and Brandon Aubrey ran for a first down.
That shows you how much respect Dallas has for Minnesota, by the way, because everybody knows that Minnesota's crap.
I'm sorry, there's just so much weird crap happening in this game. What are we doing?
And then what the hell? Like, and I'm trying to think about. Yeah, it's gonna be a long night for Minnesota. But I'm looking at the AFC playoff picture and I'm like, I'm starting to teeter on New England now. Can they make a run? Of course they can. I'm starting to teeter because, like we said, also in the playoffs, defense wins championships. Broncos, way better defense. Houston, way better defense. Jaguars and the Patriots could, if they match up somehow, that could become a shootout. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh boy. Because I don't think the Patriots are they're not built to win a shootout. Just like today, they weren't built for that in the second half. Those 3 teams now that are kind of creeping up, while New England is starting to fade a little bit. And I'm like, we went from saying that New England was going to be this easy first seed a few weeks ago when they had like a 2-game lead on the first seed or whatever it was, and now they've pissed it away. Now it's the Broncos. So. It's and I don't know, Denver's a tough place to play in terms of sound, in terms of the altitude, but that Denver defense, if they get going, pretty much like today they got beat up a little bit, but if they get going come playoff time, that defense can carry them to a Super Bowl. So when I look at New England, I'm like, what do you guys really do, like well enough that screams like that makes my antennas go up and says Super Bowl contender outside of Drake, like we're saying, outside of Drake May. You don't play defense that well. It's okay. Your line isn't really the best. You don't really have much of a running game. I mean, Trayvon Henderson is okay, but he has 1 good game and then 1 bad game and then 1 good game and then 2 bad games. Like
because they don't use him enough. They don't know how to use him. Yeah.
It's not consistent. So it's like I don't know what Do your receivers scare anybody? No. Um, it's so I'm just like it's like New England. Look, that's why I've said all year. New England just feels like out of everybody in the entire field between the NFC and the AFC, New England just feels like the negative connotation of an overachiever, where it's like they're doing this, and this, but look at who they're playing against, and then now that it's getting to crunch time now, late in the season, in December, you just had a really bad loss to a division rival, which could have ended the division, and you had every chance to win this game today, and you couldn't put it away like that. That was a really, really bad loss. Um,
Yeah.
so it's like it's not just knocking you down a peg. This one for me knocks them down a couple pegs because if you just would have finished the game, you would have been I would like even if it was ugly.
Like if they finished the game, I don't think we would have talked about it today. I really don't.
Yeah,
because
no.
I would just felt like New England is where it is.
Like
Scoop,
you were, they were ahead by what was it? Their biggest lead was like 21 at one point. Was it like 28?
28. Yeah.
Oh,
Scoop, any final things to add there? Sorry about that.
I mean, you guys covered a lot of different topics. I don't know what you want me to jump in on.
No, anything else on New England that you wanted to touch on, or?
On New England. I mean, I think the most succinct way that I can put it, once I actually get the damn sentence out, is they are one of the playoff teams, I would say, in which I believe in less. And I would believe in them even less probably if it were any other year. But as we've said about multiple teams, the crap sandwich in which they find themselves in terms of whatever the playoff picture is helping them a little bit. But on top of that, are they one of the 2 or 3 teams that I actually feel like I can quote unquote trust going into the playoffs? No.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, it felt like Kevin Patullo, even though it wasn't. What was that, Seattle? What was that for four? First thing here, guys. I don't mean this in a negative way because this is the NFL and people are fit regardless because you played in the NFL. Phillip Rivers, in NFL terms, looked fat. Genuinely, he looks completely out of shape.
Oh, he was, yeah.
And he looks completely out of shape. The zip on the ball we saw in practice, well, guess what? You see why NFL game speed is different because a lot of those passes were wobbly. He just looks out of place. He just looks massively out of place. And he's going to get fitter as the weeks go on. Especially as we get towards the playoffs. He's going to get fitter. I'm not saying he's not.
But they also can't afford to wait. It's December 14th.
Yeah, no, that is also true. But he's going to get fitter as this goes on. But for Seattle, and Scoop, please forgive me. You can look at the statistics and tell me if I'm wrong in any frame.
Okay.
Because I'm just looking at it from an eye test perspective of just what I saw, right? So the first thing is this Seattle defensive line felt like they did absolutely nothing to get to him. Maybe a couple times in key situations that felt like pretty much it. I don't understand why Seattle, a running offense, felt the need to put Sam Darnold in so many situations where like, hey, throw the ball. Like, no, dude. If they just ran the ball more consistently, they would have won this easily. And finally, 19 points against, I get it. The Colts defense is pretty solid overall. I'm not denying that. 19 points when your opposing quarterback is 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, even in a win, is asinine. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It's awful. Especially.
Also, am I crazy or were they all on field goals?
Yeah, most of it.
Most of it was field goals. And finally, here's the cherry on top. Even if Puka's out, even if Adams is out because they both were hurt today, guess who you have to play in the matter of how many days? 4 days? And I believe it's at home 4 days or whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Yep, 4 days. And look at what they did today against the Lions. And I get it. Defensively, the Lions are different. But this Rams team can put up a buttload of points. It doesn't matter who they play against. Have fun, Seattle, on a short week trying to figure that out after that performance you put out on Sunday. Brandon, continue.
This is why I kept saying, especially halfway through the year, and everybody kept getting hype on Seattle. I'm like, Seattle cannot score offensively unless the ball is in JSN's hands. And
or they're running backs in most cases.
Yeah.
And even that's a stretch.
And even then it's like it's not consistent enough. You know, it's the Seattle right now is just the slightly better defensive version of what New England is. Where it's like you have one good player offensively, like one really good one. Like I'm not saying that they're bad, but one really good one, and that's it. And you're relying on you know, trying to get that ball into that player's hands or letting that player make plays. You know, for New England, it's Drake May distributing the ball to somehow, you know, win these games or to at least keep them close. But, you know, we see what happens with Seattle offensively. Like they defensively, they're still fine. But, you know, there was times today where you know, you're not even forcing. And the thing is, Philip Rivers didn't even look good. But there's times today where you were making it way too easy for him in terms of like some of these drives, especially that led to points. You know, when this game was really in jeopardy, especially in the second half, and both teams kind of weren't scoring. But there were times where I'm like, okay, Seattle, you can give your offense good field position if you just you know get a 3 and out, and they would allow like 2 or 3 first downs before Indy would punt, knowing that their offense can't move the ball back the other way. So then it's like, you know, what are we doing here? It's 44-year-old Philip Rivers who hasn't played in 5 years. How can you not get him on the ground? How can you not pick him off, especially with that defense? Like they picked him off once, but it's like that was a game tailor-made for you to wreak havoc on him. And
the line was what, 11.5?
It was something like that.
12?
Yeah.
Like
and that should have hit. Like you know, that should have been a blowout. It really, from top to bottom, it should have been a blowout. And the worst part, you know, about it all is that the fact that you almost lost to a 44-year-old Philip Rivers who only completed, you know, who only threw for 120 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And so for you to only beat him by 2 or 3 points, I mean, I just want to pull up the stats just to make sure I'm getting this right, because I look at that game. Like, that was the game where literally it was so bad from both sides, but really bad from the Seahawks perspective, because obviously you don't expect that much out of Rivers at this point, obviously.
And again, I want to emphasize this. In 4 days, you have the Rams.
Like,
this is not acceptable.
Like that was my biggest problem with Seattle all year. It was never their defense. Like, it was the same. Like, and that's why, like, when Shane kept saying, "Oh, you know," like, and I love Shane, but he kept saying, "Oh, I think Seattle's better." I'm like, in what universe is Seattle better than the Rams? What universe? Because Sam Darnold
not after today. I think it was fine. I think it was a fine take the last few weeks, but after today,
even then, like, we know that Sam Darnold can't respond to any kind of pressure, no matter how big or small it is. Like, if he just be one free rusher, instead of moving, he just stands there. I'm like, bro, move. Try to avoid that. Do something. He doesn't avoid pressure at all. He doesn't move. Like,
Philip Rivers didn't move at all either today.
Like, yeah, I mean, it was the battle of 2 statues back there today. Like, so I'm watching, you know, this go on. I fell asleep pretty much right towards the end of the second quarter of that game, because it was so damn boring and both teams sucked so freaking bad that I was like, I cannot watch this. I can't watch this game. Like, I want to see how Philip Rivers, if he can win this game, because at that point they were ahead for a majority of the game, but they can't move the ball. Then Seattle can't move the ball. Like, it was just a crap fest for most of it. And, like, you know, it's crazy because JSN had another good game, but outside of him, and well, Rashid Shaheed too, but
Thank
outside
God
of
we
that,
finally see some Shaheed. By the way,
but it's like really, what did they really do today? Like, the numbers might look okay, but you didn't run the ball enough at all. Like, look at this. You only had 17 combined rushes between Charbonnet
it's
and
so stupid. It
you.
is
You
so
can't.
stupid.
I mean, were they going anywhere? No. But at the same time, you abandoned both those guys. Should be getting, what, 12 to 15 carries, I would
Yeah.
think, in a game. Like, and neither of them got over 9. So, like, I don't understand what Seattle's philosophy was. I don't know what.
Against a 44-year-old.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh,
I was just because from whatever angle you want to look at this, it gives you no confidence in Seattle moving forward. Like none.
No.
Like
No.
I'm on the edge of just saying I'm done with Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah. Scoop, what did the statistics show you? Are you muted? I think. Let me see. No.
My bad.
You're good. Please go ahead, Scoop.
I was, in fact-
What did the statistics bear out for you?
Yeah,
here?
I was in fact muted that time. That was on my end.
You're okay. You're okay.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, and I did look the 18-16 win for Seattle. I did look. According to this, it says that all 18 points were scored on field goals for them.
Gross.
6 for 6. You would rather go Brady's Jordan's 6 for 6, not this kind of 6 for 6. But I just again, and I was one of the guys that had more highness. That's a weird way to put it. That it was higher on Seattle.
We have lost our words today.
Yeah,
I can't even speak. Like I woke up from a nap from this, so that's why my answers are long winded and I'm not making any sense. I'm just tired. Because that late window was just not good at all to me, and I'm just like, except for the Packers Broncos game, that's about it.
And
I promise this is only going to be a quick side note, and then I'll answer Rob's question. Yeah. But it also didn't help. I don't think that our game was over in 2.5 hours. So
my God,
was that the fastest game of the year?
It was the second fastest game in recent history since 1996 was the last time it was.
Holy crap!
Fast. I think it was the second fastest game. I think also in Eagles history.
Jesus, we will get to the Eagles shortly, but continue.
But I want to focus on the point you were actually asking about. So again, I watched a little bit, but again now I am going into sort of like what I can crunch down.
That's more what I'm asking you because I'm like, did the numbers crunch out what I saw, or am I blind?
Yeah. No. And from what I can see, I mean, you're not blind at all. Now I will say you guys were able to defend 6 passes and steal a pick. So obviously those things are obviously helpful. But if you're just looking at pure offense, I mean, that offense was awful. And I just am not a fan of, especially when you're outdone in penalties by about 2-1, in the sense that you guys got penalized twice as much as they did, rather.
What a surprise for Seattle in that offensive line, by the way.
Yeah, you actually ran only one more offensive play than they did, and but you guys still got 100 more yards offensively than they did. So there's that. But for one more offensive play, it just nothing's matching up. Like what you're yielding with what you guys were doing, you'd want to be. In fact, exactly. I kind of hung my head when you made the Patullo reference. But when you look at the offenses earlier in the offense early in the season, or when you look at just offenses in general that are just leaving meat on the bone, that seems like a lot of what this team did today. And again, neither of us can stress this enough. Facing a quarterback, this isn't like a quarterback that is playing his first game this season or a quarterback that's playing his first game with a new team. It's a quarterback that hasn't thrown an NFL football in a game in 5 years. And
yeah,
so the fact that, now again, I understand that you're not throwing the football against Phillip Rivers. You're throwing the football against their pass defense. I understand that.
It doesn't matter because the defense did their job.
Yeah, but I didn't like the I don't like the way that the passing attack was orchestrated here. I mean, for what it's worth, and the rushing attack looks like it struggled too. You guys had 2.3 yards per carry.
We didn't use it enough anyway. It was stupid.
I mean, you guys only ran the ball 8 times fewer than they did. The problem is that you got half as many yards combined or total as they did. And I hate the third down conversion rate. 2 for 13 is unacceptable for a playoff team. Especially playing in Seattle, like that whole did the 12th man die or something? Because
no, it was rocking. I will say this really quickly as well. It's very clear that the Colts knew what Phillip Rivers' first start was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
They towards the end of the game, they had Blake Grupe kick a 60-yarder. They didn't trust Phillip Rivers to do anything deep down the field at all.
Nor should they.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly. I mean, they were smart about it.
No, 100%. They were smart about it.
They almost treated him like a rookie in a sense. Where
absolutely.
You ask him to make the plays within the, what do they call it? Not within the offense, within the rhythm of the offense. But essentially, and especially when you have Jonathan freaking Taylor in the backfield.
Exactly where I was going to go next. Yeah.
Let's think about this. Who do I want to lean on against the Seattle defense? Do I want to lean on a multiple-time All-Pro running back, or do I want to lean on a guy who, is about as rusty as an Olympic medal from the 1940s? Which way do I want to go?
And that's part of it. That I mean, again, I'm not trying to down on Seattle's defense here. 16 points is 16 points. They did their job. You can't.
I don't have a problem with Seattle's defense.
No, but I also kind of felt at times during that game that I was like, you guys know their game plan, right? This is Phillip Rivers. It felt at times that even the defense didn't really understand that their game plan was just Jonathan Taylor and a couple of short passes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying before. That's what was frustrating. Was like, instead of getting off the field quickly like you should have, because you only have to worry about stopping one guy on that offense. Like some of these drives, like how are you allowing Phillip Rivers at this point of his career to, throw a couple screen passes for a first down? How are you allowing them to rip off like 8 to 9 yard runs on first down, then run it again, get a first? Like there was just a few too many drives where it was like, I mean, listen, your defensive eventually at the end of the day locked down, but 16 points, like, you should have damn near shut them out, or you should have kept them like around 10 or less.
My whole thing with the 16 points up, it's like, okay, sure, 16 points, 16 points. It's the NFL. You cannot only score 18. You just can't.
Yeah, especially against a Colts defense. Especially against a Colts defense that we said all year is not that good.
It's fine. It's serviceable. That's it. Scoop, I don't know if you're seeing this on your stat sheet, but I'm very curious how many passes like over 15 yards Phillip Rivers threw. Because from my vantage point, it was like only one or two, other than the pick at the end.
Yeah, if you'll give me a minute, I can get that pretty easily. It's just gonna take me a second, but
no, please take your time.
I
just felt that there was almost none of it the whole game.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, sorry, I had something caught in my throat there.
You're okay.
I mean, it seems reasonable just looking at the fact that they had a total of 118 passing yards and 4.4 yards per attempt and 6.6 yards per completion. Actually, does it tell me the longest pass here? Give me one. Actually, yeah, okay. So his longest pass of the whole game was 17 yards. So,
oh my God!
So if his other,
Lord, oh my God!
So if his other 17 passes were a combined 103 yards, I'm not really seeing where else he would have gotten many 15-yarders out of that one.
Oh my God! There was probably just screens. Brandon's favorite play. A good portion of it were.
Yeah, I was running a decent amount of those on CFB earlier, and I almost sent them to Brandon on a snap just to make his head
Oh
spin.
my god! Well, you know what was like what I knew from the first pass that Philip Rivers attempted today. I said, "Oh crap, this is gonna be a long day," because the second I saw him take a snap and drop back to pass, there's no footwork. Footwork's gone.
Yeah, he doesn't have it.
It was literally it was just he would snap the ball and almost fall over. He was just stutter stepping. He would snap the ball, stutter step, and then fall the ball.
Because, as I said earlier, and again, I don't mean this as a negative thing. What a play there. But for the touchdown by the Vikings, 7-7, 3 minutes in the first quarter here as we're going along. But again, I'm saying this in football terms because these guys are all athletic and they're like they just are. He's not in shape. He looks fat. He just does. Like in terms of football shape, he just doesn't. He's not in football shape right now. He's not.
You can see his legs are skinnier than when he played, and his upper body from the waist up looks like he ate the prime version of himself. like
you know what I found was funny. I'll just quickly say this. I don't know if you guys saw when he got put in Madden earlier in the week, and he looked like he was.
No, I haven't played Madden yet today.
I was like, why does he look so fat? And then I watched the game today, and I was like, oh my god, they got it right. He looks. It's nuts.
The second I saw him step on the field, I was like, is that Philip Rivers, or is that Fill Me Up Rivers?
I was literally about to say. I was gonna say it looks more like filled up Rivers.
Like because my God, it legitimately looks like he ate himself. I'm like, bro, that's not Philip Rivers. Like, I'm like, God, you should have stayed retired, bro. Oh, because
well, guess what? He's running the Colts show the rest of the way, and again, Seattle only beat him by what? 2-3 points?
By two.
By two. So I had to take a fucking long ass field goal to do it.
Oh, I can't. That game was like that was probably the most frustrating game to watch today. Because I'm just like,
probably this year. Probably this year, just with everything else. Anything else statistically, Scoop, before we move on?
Yeah, and this is the thing is that because a lot of the games ended today, a lot of the statistics that I usually use come out the next day. So a lot of the stuff that I typically am able to access and typically use isn't available right now. But from what I am able to get I mean, it's like I said earlier. His longest pass of the day was 17 yards. So based on everything else that I saw there, it clearly he was clearly not being asked to chunk it down the field all that much. But it just I find it quite shocking that it was just such a. I mean, it looks like both teams were just playing such a dink and dunk.
Yeah.
Type of
100%
type of game, which is just crazy to me. In this now, I mean, obviously, it clearly worked better for Seattle than it did for Indianapolis. But you mostly would rather when you just signed a new quarterback this past offseason, you would kind of rather it work out by a better margin when Seattle was favored to win by 2 touchdowns and they end up not even winning by a damn field goal.
Yeah. Okay. A couple other tidbits of craziness today, or
tidbits of craziness. I love it.
Or yesterday. So, quick Packers thing that I want to mention on the show because it was kind of the most surprising thing from Green Bay over the weekend, other than unfortunately Micah getting hurt. Emmanuel Wilson, their backup running back, played through an illness today. And the reporting on his illness on Saturday was insane. Like Saturday night. Basically, Saturday morning, Emmanuel comes into the facility, tells them, hey, I'm really sick. He gets medicine from the staff. They tell him to go, and he's like, here's medicine, go home. That was it. Go home, take the meds, see how you feel in the morning. And he played. My first thought about that was, can you imagine being in any workplace where they're just like, hey, here's medication, go home, and we'll see you tomorrow. Like free medication.
Like legit back in the old days when doctors used to say, "Hey, here, I'm gonna write you a quick prescription. Here, go grab this from the drugstore, and call me back in 24 hours and see how you feel."
That was basically what it was.
Here's what they said.
Yeah,
weird, so weird.
Scoop, do you have anything on that? I mean, it was just like bizarre.
So I'll be fully straightforward. That was the first time I heard anything even remotely about that situation.
Yeah, and by the way, Adam Schefter reported it yesterday, and I think Ian Rappaport also doubled up on it as well. So
yeah, okay. So I missed that, so that's my bad. But I could have taken that one of two ways, because like you just said, but when you were starting to say about, like, can you imagine any sort of, location, where you work or whatever, in my mind, like, and this is the thing, because when you're sick as a player or an employee or whatever, there's two things. There's one, are you well enough to, for yourself to like go and actually get work done or whatever, but also depending on what you have, are you gonna F it up for the people around you? Like,
when you're sick at especially in the NFL, when you're like sick, you wear a mask. You do everything to keep. You're in
the damn huddle with 10 other guys. What, 60 times a game? That might be a bit of a stretch, but enough times where it's it's not like you're just walking past these guys to get off of a subway for 9 seconds.
It does help that you're outside, though. Does help a little bit?
Okay,
not massively.
I also couldn't remember if that was an outdoor stadium or not.
It doesn't really matter. It's a giant space essentially, which helps.
Okay.
But it doesn't help all that. It does. It's like an end all be all that it helps you. But
no, because they are going to be in the locker room together and things of that nature.
Yeah. I just thought it was nuts. I was like, how bad is it? How bad of a sickness is it that it actually has to get reported that the team doctors gave you medication and said go home?
Yeah,
I guess just
like obviously on one hand, respect. I'm glad that we're not in a position where we're asking players to, or we're not even asking, where we're basically telling players, unless you're literally your heart's coming out of your chest cage, you're going to be playing on the field. I'm glad that we're not necessarily in that situation, but I can't remember the last time I learned of a specific information. Like, excuse me. Now I'm waiting for the follow up where it says sources confirm it was in fact an antibiotic. Like I'm waiting to see what if there's going to be I'm saying it's kind of in tongue in cheek, but it's just not an update I usually remember hearing coming from an NFL player or regarding an NFL player.
You know what I'm thinking as to why we heard about it like the way we did is because just the proximity to game time, it being less than 24 hours to game time.
That makes sense.
So, right, but that also would make sense. What if like guys just say, "Oh, the day before, like, oh, he's dealing with an illness, he'll probably be fine." But it's never. Oh, here's medication. Go home.
But I think because it's the way that because when you report on something like that, you have to report exactly what happened, like whether it's what kind of illness, not what illness, but like what happened, what transpired, like when did he come down with it, or when did he have whatever it is. So when you're reporting an illness, it kind of makes sense that day. I mean, it's bizarre, but the way it went down. Because then you're saying, oh, he's going to play today. You kind of have to describe what happened in between the time that he came down with the illness and now he's going to play. Game time decision, whatever it is.
I forgot if he was sick earlier in the week as well, and it just kept progressing. I don't remember those specifics, but even so, I mean, to just have that happen, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's still weird. It's still weird no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Scoop. Any we want to talk about AJ Dillon's bunny and the fact that you won today.
Yeah. So
The fact that it was AJ is so stupid.
So yeah. For those who missed it, the revelation came out a couple days ago. It was reported and confirmed that running back AJ Dillon was the one who essentially saw the bunny, the now infamous, may he rest in peace after his 4-day lifespan. Positivity bunny or vibes bunny, whatever the hell you want to call him. But made the decision to bring them, to kind of bring the team into it, and have him have the bunny there for the team. It's such a weird sentence to even say. I can't even figure out.
I like that after Monday night, it immediately got popped and escorted out. It's like, nope, we're not doing this.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't even really know how to respond to that or really even what to say about that. But it was funny because there was always a lot of speculation as to, was this a group decision or who was it that came up with this? It never really felt like a Jalen Hurts thing to do that.
Why? Wait a minute.
The thing that I originally heard, because I think it was Saquon or maybe Devontae Smith it was somebody when they saw the bunny and it's like, oh, that's the offensive line. I was like, is it really the offensive line that just randomly decides to buy a bunny?
But the fact that it's like that's the most random player on the team who isn't actually playing.
Yeah, he's been inactive most of the year.
Like you would have thought it would be like a Avante or like a somebody on the defense, like Brandon Graham. I could have potentially seen doing something silly like that. But like to have it be freaking AJ Dillon, and honestly, respect for the fact that AJ Dillon apparently has that much influence in the clubhouse where the team decides to listen to him about that idea. So clearly there's clearly a respect for him in that locker room, which God bless him for that. But I just your third string running back brings up 5 points.
Yeah, your running back who's inactive every week since week 2.
Yeah, obviously he's behind Saquon, and I'm pretty sure he's behind Tank Bigsby also.
Yeah, so Tank and actually one more.
Actually, he's behind Saquon, Tank, and Will Shipley.
Yeah, so he's 4. That's why he gets inactive.
Yeah. Listen, AJ Dillon played in the game against Dallas. And I think he played a little bit in week 2.
Week 1 and week 2.
I genuinely forgot that AJ Dillon was on our team. That's how little we've used him.
What was funny was everybody assumed that once Tank Bigsby came to Philly, that they were going to cut him.
Yeah,
because they could have, and they didn't.
They cut someone else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all I have on the Eagles. I mean, you guys finally did something good. If you have anything to say on Philly, do it. Then wait until Saturday when we'll have more info about what they do in that division game on Saturday afternoon. But go ahead, Scoop.
Yeah. So I will say this. I fully am aware and was and am fully in agreement on the fact that this was against the Raiders, and I said it before the game. They're kind of in a no-win, quote-unquote, situation today because if they don't win close enough, then obviously people are going to say it's the Raiders, they should have won by more, yada, yada, yada. If they win by a decent margin, which whatever you want to say, I think 31-0 is considered a decent margin. Yes. People are going to say, it's the Raiders, you should win that by that amount. And I sent out a message to a couple of people in the beginning of the game, basically saying, I just know no matter how much Philly wins by, it's not going to it's going to feel like it should have been by more or however I phrased it. I will say 31-0 is a good sign for me. And when I say sign, no, I'm not taking it as like a sign of things to come or whatever, because obviously you learn literally nothing from from how you play against the Raiders. And all you can learn, if you learn anything, is not going to be good. You're not going to learn anything positive by playing the Raiders. Let me just acknowledge that I fully understand that. I will say they played like a team that has the expectations, or that we have the expectations for, should be playing a team like that. So I was reassured, I would think would be the word that I would use. Now, I wouldn't say I learned anything new about them. I would say I'm reassured that there is still the DNA of the team that started the season the way that they did. I would also add, this is now multiple weeks in a row where I have seen more. I hate to keep using the word creativity. But
I think it's the right word. I think it's the exact right word, Scoop. I don't think that you're wrong.
Where I'm seeing more creativity, where I'm seeing more unpredictability, and where I'm seeing, now, granted, it's very easy to say, and I won't knock anybody who wants to say, well, it's easy to do that against a defense that's as bad as Vegas is. But again, it's not just is it easy or not, because it's not like they were trying to do those things and failing. They weren't even putting those looks up against defenses. So for me, it wasn't just how well do those things work. It's, do I even see them pre-snap? And the fact that I'm seeing these things pre-snap, and the fact that a lot of what I was reassured by wasn't just how the team went up and down the field. It was, what was I seeing them even trying to implement in the first place? It was the decision making that happened even before the ball was snapped. So those things I am encouraged by, and those are the things that I am taking away from this game as positives. Again, 31-0 tells me very little. I will say, first time in 65 years they've been held to that little offensive movement for the Raiders. So
that says a lot more about how bad the Raiders are.
It's the lowest yardage total for the Raiders in any game since 1961.
Yeah, that's how I was trying to put it. So there are Medicare patients out there right now who have never seen a defense hold the Raiders. Hold the Eagle. No, yeah, I was right the first time. Hold the Raiders to as little as they got today. So again, I saw what I needed to see today. I'm not going to say that I saw anything that made me excited or over the moon or sort of reignited anything in me, but I got a level of reassurance that I think makes that possible going forward. I think this had the capacity and the possibility of being the quote unquote much needed get right game. Now the question of whether or not that can be built upon is going to go into next week. And so that's what matters. And but again, our biggest question the last few weeks was obviously not just the play calling, but just the fundamental philosophies of the offense. And they said that huge thing 2 weeks ago about we're going to reevaluate how to use our personnel and what to do with our offense and whatever. I do see elements of that. Now, of course, it doesn't matter until we see it be able to be successful against teams that we're actually going to face in January. But I think that if you were asking me 1 to 10, how do I feel relative to what I needed to see from the game today? I'm on a positive end of that scale for sure. Again, I understand that there's really not much more you can say about this game, but there are points that I think that need to be made. So I just wanted to get those out there.
Yeah, Brandon, it felt good for you to relax for a few hours. I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, there's not much more to that. Like I was thinking about like Kevin Patullo and like, is it that he's intimidated by defenses? But then I also think back to, games against Dallas, I think Carolina a few years back or Arizona a few years back, just the history of what happens with their offense. But it's kind of a tough point to make because every week things kind of change. But overarchingly, it does feel good to kind of relax a little bit.
Yeah, it's Listen, I came to this game, obviously we all did, expecting an Eagles win, but it was like, I'm like, okay, I expect the Eagles to still look kind of crappy and win maybe like 20-10, something like that. And to be able to pretty much relax. Wow, where is Dallas' defense? Jesus. But yeah, wow, that was bad. Allowing JJ McCarthy to throw a bomb like that, which if he hits him in stride would have been a touchdown, but he didn't because he sucks. Is insane. But there's three things I think I can take away from the game today, and it's funny because none of them are. Only one of them is positive. What makes me pissed is the team finally looked like for the first time all season on both sides of the ball that they actually had fun today. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But here's the problem.
That's a good point.
But here's the biggest problem is why the hell does it take you to fade? Like, why the hell does it take the Raiders for you to realize we have creative plays that we can run, that we have other plays other than inside zone and just deep shots down the sideline? Like, why the hell does it take why can't you open up the playbook against all the other teams you faced this year? Why the hell does it take the Raiders?
I will say we did start to see this over the last couple of weeks. It's not like this wasn't like the first time we saw it.
I agree, and that's kind of where my intimidating thought came from. But I don't think it's accurate. I really don't think it's accurate.
I didn't see this. Against. We saw a little bit of it last week. I didn't see it against the Bears or Dallas, really.
Not as much, but there was it was very incremental.
But you know what this is telling me? This isn't telling me that that's Kevin Patullo. This is telling me that he's been slightly demoted in his role.
Yeah,
that's because when you see the offense increasingly incorporating more and more of these things every week. And then we get to this point where like every play today was, well, not every play, but 90% of the plays were pretty creative this week. When it gets to that, that's just telling me that there's more. Someone's got a bigger hand in this offense now than just him.
Well, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
And it's going to sound like I'm, being the water boy, and I understand that. Is it just possible that with experience he's, I don't want to say getting more comfortable, but is it possible that this is just experience, developing as a coordinator, and he's basically just, trying things that he wasn't trying before, or he's adapting to his personnel and deciding or seeing, or perhaps they're seeing things in practice where they're like, okay, we're more comfortable expanding this now because now some of these personnel, because again, I keep going back to that damn offensive line that is on third and fourth string pieces in multiple different places. So
here's why I disagree with you, Scoop. Here's why.
I'm not even sure if I agree with that. I'm just asking if that's possible.
It's week 15. It's week 15, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Week 15. It's not.
Yeah.
If you ask this question before Thanksgiving, it's valid. And again, you're saying it as more devil's advocate. I'm not saying.
Well, also not only that, but also we only lost Lane Johnson 2 or 3 weeks ago. That is a major difference.
I'm glad.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up, Scoop, because this is important. It's not week 10. It's week 15. We only have a few weeks to go.
I'm glad that you said it instead of me, Rob. That's because the second Scoop said that, I'm like, yeah, but I was like, the second I heard that question, I'm like, yeah, but it's week 15. That's the problem. Like,
I agree that is the problem. But again, I also had to ask the question because it's not like we've worked. It's not like two guys got hurt in week 2 and we've worked with the same offensive line ever since.
Yeah. But two guys on an offensive line shouldn't change your entire playbook to be stupid or better or whatever.
What I'm wondering, and I don't agree with that even if it is the case, but I'm wondering if they were going off of what they were seeing in practice, and in practice there was just. Because they talked a lot about communication within the offense. They talked a lot about rhythm and timing. We've talked about penalties. So clearly the offensive line was a bigger problem than we thought it was.
No, and I agree. But the issue is like all these things that they're seeing, like couldn't you have somewhat seen this in week 10? Like,
Even
and I
before-
get it. I get it. There's differences.
Well,
There's
I'm not
differences.
saying they didn't see it in week 10. I'm saying that's why they drastically brought down the, or I won't say close the playbook, but drastically, sort of simplified the playbook for that period
Right.
of time because
Right.
maybe they thought, we'll not run it, but what would be the phrase? We'll bank on the talent, the talent that's healthy, overcoming the somewhat limited nature of what we're going to run, because and kind of just bank on the fact that we'll be able to develop it to this point.
Right.
And-
but let me devil's advocate that in a way.
Yeah, go ahead,
Because
please.
I think what you just said, Scoop, your whole spiel here, is exactly the reason why Philly is a Super Bowl team.
Is or is
Because
not?
it is not. Because you're asking the questions that a team that has the best roster on paper since week 1, obviously it's changed with injuries. That's the point you're trying to make. I'm not denying that.
Exactly.
But regardless of the injuries, I still think this is a top roster in the NFL. If you're asking these questions in week 15, then this team, then the point I think haphazardly would be the best word you're trying to make is that this team can't win a playoff game. Because that's what the question is. That's what the question feels like, if that makes sense.
I'm gonna disagree with that, and here's why.
Please do, because I'm just trying to think out loud on it.
Right, and here's why. Like, for example, we've talked about like we talked about in the beginning of the season, guys like Tyler Steen and Brett Toth and how badly they started. They've actually played and been rated a lot better the last couple weeks. They additionally on top of that, we've had, like I said, we've had a couple of offensive linemen who have had to play different positions just this season alone. I'm struggling to remember exactly who has played where. But again, that's a manifestation of what I just discussed. But I know Toth has played at least 2 different positions. So
isn't it like left guard and left tackle or something?
We've also had
Toth has definitely played center a little bit.
Yeah, center and like guard.
We've also had Matt Pryor in there for a game or two. We've had Fred Johnson now at right tackle since Lane went down. So
yeah, so that's like for example. So if I'm just looking at just the guys that have taken 100 snaps, and I think this is even going into today. I don't even think this is counting today. We have Mailata, Steen, Dickerson, Juergens, Johnson, the other Johnson, Toth, and then right below that line is Matt Pryor. That is 8 offensive linemen playing a decent number of snaps this season. So, and again, like I said, a couple of them at multiple different positions. So I'm not saying that in here, and why I'm saying this is because I'm not saying this team can't win a playoff game, because I don't agree with that. What I'm saying is this team was trying to figure out the formula by which this current roster, as healthy, as constructed, can win games. And quite frankly, if you figure that out right now, then I don't believe that you should be, believing you can't win a playoff game because it took you, 3 or 4 weeks to figure out how to win games with your current roster. Because if you figure out how to win those games, again, Raiders you're not going to be facing in the playoffs. So I understand this is not a manifest. I understand that is not anything you learned today, one way or the other. But
I'm not sure if this is true, Scoop, and correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like other teams in this situation that you're discussing, that you're pointing out, I feel like other teams across the league have figured out how to change a roster that's dealing with injuries faster than the Eagles have.
Right, but also, let me add this. I will say, and again, this is not I'm not saying this in a positive way. This is a first-year coordinator, so I don't know if that had anything to do with why it took longer. I don't know. I'm guessing it probably did. If it did take longer, then that's not an excuse. But I also can't change the past. I'm looking at where we are right now, and also, like I said, multiple different players going down on that offensive line at different times throughout the season. So it's not like you lost these 2 guys in the same week and you've been playing with the same line ever since week 3, even at a lesser extent. So every time you lose 1 or 2 of those guys, it's going to be next man up. Okay.
Yeah.
But also, as things become next man up, things are going to change. Okay. And things are going to change. In some ways, it's going to be, somewhat negligible. In some ways, it's going to be more significant. So, excuse me, sorry. And again, also at the same time, mostly the teams that we look at that lose multiple guys throughout the offensive, or throughout on the offensive line throughout the course of the season. Usually, those are teams that are not. There are teams that are 5-10. There are teams that are 3-11. They're not teams that are freaking 10-5 or 9-5, whatever the hell we are. So the fact that they are sitting where they're sitting right now, I think that also lends credence to the idea that sometimes we see teams in football sometimes. I mean, we've seen the Chiefs do this at times. We've seen the Patriots do this at times, where they kind of treaded water for a couple of weeks, and then they started playing their best football in December and January, and that's what got them there. We keep saying that it's going to just take a team to get hot at the right time, because we don't know who's going to win this year. We just know it's not going to be the Chiefs, and it's not going to be whoever else has been eliminated so far. But
right.
My question is, why is Philly inherently, with the most talented roster, that much that's not a word, that much unable to make a run, if just because they quote unquote figured it out a couple weeks later in the post or in the regular season than so-called maybe another team did. My point is just saying, I'm just saying that I think they're figuring it out. Do I like that it took until week 15 potentially, or week 14 or whatever? No, I don't like that. But at the same time, we've seen teams in the past have to quote unquote figure it out, and then once they do, they go on the run.
But no team does it in week 15. Everyone does it in week 12 or week 13. Well, Brandon, week 12, do you want to add?
Week 12, I think we still had Lane Johnson though. I think
but still, you can't figure it out this late and expect to win a playoff game. It's not realistic. Is my issue. Brandon, do you have anything to add?
With it being a home game, almost certainly in the playoffs, we could win a playoff game. After that, I don't think so. Just because, I'm not looking at this game or next week or against the Commanders. I'm looking at the Bills game. That's where your test is of can you do it come playoff time. And
the way the Bills have been playing recently, you should win that game.
Yeah, right, but also keep in mind what offense we saw today against New England. You're going to have to deal with that, and
that's what I'm saying.
I would take our defense over New England's.
And no, of course, and again, we've said our piece about Buffalo and why we don't think they're very good. But as Brandon said, it's still a test. It's still something.
Because you're also that game's not in Philly. You're on the road in a very hostile environment. They're playing for a lot now, because a loss today would have ended the division, but now they are right in it. So it's a lot has changed, just in this one game today for Buffalo. Just like we think a lot might have changed for Philly today. We don't know. Like, that's the game to where I'm going to see where are those two teams really at now.
Yeah, so, and that's the, because again, this all started with me just saying I was trying to emphasize the fact that I didn't see this as a game where I learned much of anything.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that what I did, there were certain things that I was looking for today that encouraged me coming off of last week, that if I see them repeated going into next week, that's what's going to start making me feel more like, okay, wherever the hell the train detoured for a couple of weeks, looks like it finally figured out where the rail was.
That rail gets, if I'm going to use the analogy, you get put on that rail against Buffalo, or you get taken out.
I fully agree with that. If we go back to the same, penalty laden, remedial, basic, type of offense that's on the field 27 minutes a game and making the defense be out there 33 minutes a game, having the defense be absolutely wiped out by the end of the third quarter, then we're done. Like, there's no other way to put it. That's the point, is that and that's why I said call this a quote unquote get right game. I almost wish I should use a different phrase, maybe more like a
it's just
momentum
a confidence builder. It's just a
yeah, that's what I was
confidence
gonna say. Confidence builder or momentum builder game. And now, like I said, you have to actually do this again, carry this into games against teams where you're going to be facing the type of team that you're going to be facing in January. And although I will say, you talk about hostile environments in Buffalo, whatever. I would argue that in terms of the weather, the type of fans you're going to be facing,
Oh, yeah.
I would argue there are few teams as well equipped and well prepared to go into an environment like that as Philly is.
Yeah, I just
Brandon, any last words before we move on here? This game's boring, by the way. This is awful.
Oh, this isn't boring to me. I love this. This is great so far, I think.
I think it's great. I think it's great, but I'm just like, these two teams can't do crap.
Oh no, yeah, they both suck. Yeah, but it's like Jesus, like,
finish up on Philly.
It's crazy because games can feature two bad teams but still be good games, and games could feature two good teams and still be shit games.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been. That's kind of what we've had most of the year.
It's really just two bad defenses that are just allowing a lot to happen in this game. But but what I'm thinking of, so as much as there were like all these cool things to see the team have fun again today, and whatnot. Also, I believe this was also I saw a stat. I can't remember what the exact stat was, or it was a piece of history that almost 35 years ago to the day, I think like the Eagles, tied it's not their biggest. Brandon Aubrey actually missed
54. Yeah,
51.
51. Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God. Rare. But I'm thinking of the stat that I saw today. I can't find it right now. I don't know why I didn't save it. I should have. It was the Eagles. It was the Eagles' biggest shutout victory since almost 35 years ago to the day. It happened in Week 15 of 1990 against the Packers, where they also beat them 31-0. And so that's huge. But there's still a couple things I didn't like today that kind of scare me going forward. That make me start to also, like we did say, it is the Raiders, so like we got to understand that. But there's still a couple things that do scare me going forward. They still don't snap the ball unless it's under 5 seconds left on the play clock, which makes the snap too easy to jump. And
don't you think most teams do that though?
No,
that's what I was going to respond to.
No, we do it way more than other teams. I've seen a lot of teams this year be able to.
I wonder if there are stats available, when it comes to that, in terms of like.
I would love to see that.
I'll try and find that before tomorrow's show.
And the worst part is that we were getting set. Like that's another thing too, is that we were getting set with like 15, 18 seconds left on the play clock. Why are you snapping it under 5 seconds? Like what takes so long to get everything in place when you're getting set or what takes another 12, 13 seconds to get the damn playoff?
Like, what I'm wondering is that just, do they just use it as like a strategy to like hope that like a poorly structured and not particularly good defense is going to jump off sides?
I mean, it could be. It's just that I just wish they kind of would have. I mean, I could see today also that they kind of, especially like they weren't like running up to the line quick, and like they were kind of taking it easy a little bit because they knew they were playing the Raiders. Like you could see they were kind of like just walking up to the line instead of jogging or running up to the line. So I kind of get that, but still, you got to be able to snap that ball with more than 5 seconds on the play clock, and they didn't. They hardly did it at all in this game today. And then the worst thing I'm still seeing, because it's still not helping Saquon when he does get outside the numbers or just at all. Two big problems on this offense. A.J. Brown's afraid of contact. He will not block to save his life.
Which I hate seeing, because that was his calling card as a receiver.
Yeah, he just will not block at this point in his career. Literally, even today, there was plays where he blocks for 2 seconds after the ball snapped, and he just lets his guy go. Why are you stopping? Why? But if you like, there was times today where I'm watching him, and I'm literally watching Jalen Hurts have to break a tackle or two, or to try to outrun somebody because he didn't finish his block, and Jalen now has to get around that guy to try to, like on that 3rd and 12 that he picked up with his legs. If A.J. Brown just makes the block, Jalen doesn't have to break an ankle tackle and get to the sideline and get that first down right before he goes out of bounds. If A.J. just blocks, Jalen has like a 15, 20-yard run. So instead of a 12, barely just making it to the first down marker. Block your guy. Like, I don't understand why you're blocking him for 2 seconds and letting him go. And then he just stands there looking at the guy as he's running towards the ball carrier, whether it's Jalen, Saquon, Tank, whoever it is. I'm like, why would you not finish your block? I don't understand that. Especially with his size and strength, there's no reason to not finish the play. And then the other blocking problem on this line, and I said this to Rob all day, and I've said it all year.
Yeah.
Grant Calcaterra can't block to save his damn life. I've never seen a worse blocking tight end in NFL history.
He's actually supposed to be your blocking tight end.
He's supposed to be, and he's not. And they keep using him in packages where it's like you make it obvious you're going to run the ball. I don't understand this. Dallas Goedert can do both. Just leave Dallas Goedert out there or bring in another offensive lineman if you have to. I don't want to see that dumbass blocking for Saquon Barkley or Tank Bigsby or anybody, because he shouldn't be. There's times where it's like everybody knows their assignment except for him, and the guy he lets through is the one blowing up the play in the backfield. Why can't you block? You are an NFL player. Make a block.
This is the lot. I wasn't expecting this Eagles segment to go long, but it worked out.
See, those are little things that still make me hesitate. Like if they just would have done if they would have checked all those boxes today. I mean, listen, they still won by a lot, obviously, and the play calling was better, but it was those other little problems that I'm like, if you do that again going forward, then I can't get back on the train, because I know that's not going to go well in the playoffs. So like that's just a big problem. But today, in terms of just the positives, I love the fact that the best part was the defense said all week, I believe in practice, because it just came out after the game, that they said all week in practice, and they said leading up to this game, and even in the pregame huddle the defense amongst each other said we want to hold the Raiders to under 100 yards today, and they did that. They actually held them to under 80 total, and it's funny. And half those yards came on the first drive for the Raiders, which they failed to convert a 4th down. So the rest of the game, they quite literally almost had 0 yards. They didn't do anything. And so that was good to see from the defense. Also, that can't be understated. Listen, I didn't like Marcus Epps a few years ago because he was the weakest link of our 3 or 4 safeties. But seeing how much of an improvement he is over Sidney Brown it's actually doing wonders for this defense that he's actually in there, because he's a veteran presence who knows what he's doing. So that's good to see. But I think that so those are a couple good things. Once again, and this is one thing I need to see more going forward. Stop running Saquon we've said this all year, but stop running him in between the tackles, because he's not getting anywhere. The best
do it. Don't stop it. Just do it less.
The best, yeah, because you have to mix in a little bit. But the fact is, like, I think more than half his runs were still in between the tackles. Like, the only time he really got a big run, was, once again, outside the tackles, pitch plays, where he could work up a head of steam, and his vision as he's getting the ball, it's a lot easier to see where you're going when you're bouncing outside the tackle versus going through where there's a mass of bodies. So they need to keep doing what they did today on the big plays and bottle those up going forward, because the only way you're going to get Saquon going at this point in the season, this late, is to just run those plays outside the tackles, because it's the only way he's going to go anywhere. Because the thing is, that's what happened today, is that they would have plays where they would run a pitch play or whatever it was, or a toss play outside the tackles. So he's already moving that way. The flow of the play is going that way. So he's getting the ball out in space, even though it's behind the line of scrimmage. It's out in space where there's not many guys out there. And he can see this guy, and this guy being blocked, or someone coming through, and he doesn't make one guy miss, which he's good at, and then he's gone for 15 yards. So, we need more of that going forward. And then, not for nothing, but I'm glad to see that today they finally understood that there's a middle of the field you can use.
Yeah.
How that works.
Oh my god.
Well, it's also I'll add this. I'll add this on Saquon. It's been particularly the left side of the offensive line that has really been an issue. He's actually ran. He's run. I don't know. He's been most successful running. In terms of when it comes to in between the linemen on the right side, but on the left side, I'm looking at it right now between the left guard or the left tackle. It's combined 39 attempts going into today for 75 yards. So under 2 yards per attempt. So that's another thing is I think teams are probably picking up on that and probably just saying, hey, slide up to the left side and you'll stuff them. So that's what I would say is I would hope that they are going to continue if they go inside zone. I would hope they were going to continue to lean on up the right side. In addition to mixing in those outside plays as well, because if they can do that, then I think you can still use the inside zone plays, but have it be a little bit more of a misdirection. And I don't mean that in the specific play sense. I mean misdirection in terms of just disorienting the defenses and the defensive play calls. Because obviously, I mean, it was good to see him get in the end zone today, and they have utilized him more. I like when they utilize him in the passing game as well. That definitely obviously adds a dynamic to the offense. But yeah, that's really what it's been. And again, no surprise as to why, because the left side of the offensive line, with the exception of Mailata, has been banged up, and for some reason Mailata has struggled at different times throughout the season. Maybe just because he's literally the only healthy starter out there. But yeah, so that's what I would say is that in terms of the inside zones, just to add more context, it's particularly been the left side of the offensive line that has not been that has kind of been the bugaboo for the offense when it comes to Saquon.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Whoa.
All right, finish up, Brandon. Go.
Well, yeah, there's one more. There's one more thing I will say.
Go for it. One more thing.
It's like I'm pushing my agenda here. Please, if you're Philadelphia, re-sign Nakobe Dean in the offseason. I've said I hate that people still. These are Eagles fans saying this. I hate when people still don't realize his impact and value to the team. He is our best blitzing linebacker. He's our best downhill linebacker.
Hold on a second. People are actually saying he's not been good this year.
There's a guy I follow who runs an Eagles page on Instagram who actually has a lot of people following him. Me and him talk about it. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, back when, or not a couple weeks ago, about a month and a half ago, when Nakobe Dean first came back in the lineup. He's like, I'm just curious, what do Eagles fans see in Nakobe Dean? I'm like, if you have to ask me that, you're not watching Eagles football closely enough.
I see it. I'm not watching all 4 quarters of your guys' game because I'm watching red.
Because the thing is, and it's no secret that the defense was already okay, getting by with some injuries that they had, but they were kind of struggling a little bit. It's no secret that the second he got back in as a full-time starter, the defense has gotten even better. Everybody's like, oh, why is Jahad Campbell not playing? Because Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond last year, before Nakobe Dean got hurt, they were the best linebacker duo in football. You could have made a case that Zach Bond was first-team All-Pro and Nakobe was second, because that's how good they were the entire season up until Nakobe got hurt. There's a reason why Jahad Campbell's not playing. It's not because he's not good enough, because he has been decent when he's played this year, especially in the early part of the year before Nakobe came back. But Nakobe Dean is one of your best players on defense.
And Campbell can rotate. I mean, you're still using him in rotating situations, but
here and there, it's not often. He's almost getting hardly any snaps, but
which is fine. He's a future guy. He's
a rookie, yeah. But like Nakobe Dean needs to be re-signed. He's still young enough. A, B, I can live with the injury concerns. When the thing is, whenever the guy does come back, he impacts the game every week. He blows up screens. He blows up running backs in the backfield. He can get through and kill the quarterback, on a free rush. Like he's fast. He's side to sideline. He is watching him and Zach Bond together is a work of art to me, because last year
fun.
I love watching them together last year and the last few weeks together, even though the Eagles haven't won, watching them together play. Like, they are so in sync with each other and they play off each other so well that I'm like, people got to realize I don't care about the like just like I don't care about the injury concerns with Jalen Phillips because of how good he's played for us. I don't care about the injury concerns with Nakobe Dean either. I want both those guys in Midnight Green next year because they are so damn good at what they do that. And I'm sad that they're kind of getting lost in the shuffle on defense when you think about Zach Bond and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, but and of course when Jalen Carter is healthy, which he hasn't been, and even Jordan Davis has been great this year, or Jomo, like these guys have been really good. That you lose Jalen Phillips in the shuffle because he just came over, and you lose Nakobe Dean because he's just started to really in the last few weeks be the full time guy on next to Bond defensively at the linebacker spot. So it's like when you realize how good those guys really are, you understand why this Eagles defense can hang with anybody because those guys are probably I don't even this year, and as much as I love all the other guys, those two guys were the two biggest pieces on this defense as to why this team has started to pick it up defensively as the season has gone on.
Yeah. Well, good job, guys, because we always end up doing this, I guess. It's kind of unintentional. But it's like right about halftime of Sunday night. Good job. We've done this twice this year, just like finishing right around there. So that's good. Good work.
Well, it's
Good
funny. The Eagles stuff took us like a half hour worth of crap to get through.
Yeah,
I mean,
which I wasn't expecting, but I'm not complaining. So
I mean, it's 17-14. Is there that much to say about this Dallas Minnesota game right now?
no.
Other than please Minnesota pull off an upset.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have the lead right now.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So they do. It's just an ugly. It's a fun / ugly game between two crappy teams. There's a reason why we recorded early.
It's. I mean, this isn't the right way of using this term, but it's a fugly game.
It is a little bit. Yeah, that's the right word.
I know what that term means, but I'm just combining the words because it's true. It's a fugly game.
All right. Well, before we go, Scoop, I know you wanted to do a tribute before we head off air today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to mention this real quickly because I got this news this morning. So a good friend of mine, a fellow Eagles fan, he's a co-owner of a lot of fantasy teams with me. He's a former Seton Hall. He's a Seton Hall alum, just wanted to let. And he also follows our shows at times as well. Just wanted to let Dylan know that we're thinking about him and praying for him. Found out that he lost his father tragically last night, and I will just say, because I don't want to get into the details of it, but you'll kind of connect the dots after what I say next. Is just, fellas, please talk to somebody if you feel compelled to. If you're in a capacity where you're needing to reach out, whether it's the 988, whether it's if you have if there's somebody within your inner circle, somebody is going to be grateful that you reached out to them.
I think it's incredibly sad that unfortunately every year a couple times a year we talk about this. It's really heartbreaking.
It truly is. And again, I don't want to give more details. That is not my place. This is not my personal situation. I don't also want to disrespectfully speak too much on behalf of somebody else who's also, especially somebody who's not on air here. But just wanted to just give a shout out to his family and know that they're in our prayers and we appreciate the all that he's been in my life. I've known him since I was a freshman at Seton Hall. And I just couldn't even begin to imagine what he's going through and what they're going through. And I hope that nobody that, can hear this right now, is in a situation on either end as a loved one or as somebody actually in that situation. And if they are, I pray that you will know that there's a listening ear out there that wants to and we'll be grateful that you had the ability and trusted them to do so, because those are incredibly complicated. And you can see me choosing my words carefully right now, because obviously it's such a delicate issue. But every person's individual situation is so unique. But yeah, I wanted to just kind of bring that up, because we talk about this topic from time to time on here, men's mental health and things of that nature. And when he shared that this morning, it was just something that I wanted to just kind of re-bring to light, because just because somebody's got the smiliest face doesn't always tell the full story. And that's all I can say. Dylan, love you, brother, and continuing to be there for you as best as we can. And that's all I can really say. So thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to mention this on his behalf.
And we're all praying, man. We're all praying for him. We're here, and thank you for mentioning that. I unfortunately I do think it's important for us to talk about it, because you never know who's listening, who's struggling with the same thing. So I just think
exactly,
it's really
and that's really the main reason why I brought this up, is because if one person can feel like if by saying something or by bringing something to light, if it makes one person feel like this is the time to reach out, or if it makes one person feel like they're not alone or whatever, then I think it's worth it just based on that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, we'll call it there. Again, good job, guys. We keep doing this. First half of the game is done, and we're done with the show. This is good. Not that we do this as often, because
no, we did say we wanted to keep it snappy because the game was going to start at 8:20 and it is now 9:47.
That's snappy for us, though.
That is snappy for us.
To be fair, 1 hour 40 is pretty snappy.
Yeah, it is.
We tried to make it snappy, and it didn't end up being as snappy as we wanted. But to be fair, what do you expect?
That was largely my fault, so I will acknowledge that. But,
no, it's fine. It's nobody's fault. This is just what happens with this show. We're just like, we're gonna try our best.
I'll move my trivia question to tomorrow.
Oh yes, I'm very excited about the trivia question. Yeah. We missed it. We'll do it tomorrow. I want to hear what this is.
Sounds good.
We'll save it for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're doing that. We're talking this game, if there's anything to talk about this game. Dolphins Steelers.
We got the movie, right?
Das Boot.
Okay.
Which is a German movie of some sort that
really I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I have no other context other than that, because I can
feel the red hairs on my beard grow longer by the second.
Yeah, just if you can, let me know what streaming service that's on, just so I'm not clamoring, trying to make sure that I get a free trial.
Yeah, no, we got you there. But yeah, we're excited for that. I don't know what movie we're doing next week, but I know the week after we're doing Bad Santa, so that's gonna be great.
Oh, I love it! I'm so happy I picked that.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
We're doing it the weekend of Christmas, so not like the 25th, but like that weekend.
So like the 28th, 29th.
28th, 29th.
It's still Christmas. It's still the Christmas season up until New Year's. So
yeah, so it still counts.
I mean, a couple of years ago, we kept our Christmas tree up all year freaking round.
Oh God.
Jesus. Dolphins Steelers, surprisingly, is going to have a lot of very interesting playoff implications.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun to talk about.
The fact that Miami kind of nudged their way back into relevance is quite intriguing.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, it's wild.
I will say this. If this was Mike McDaniel coaching for his job, like if he was actually coaching like he was coaching for his job, if I'm the replacement of Chris Grier, I'm giving him a very serious consideration to bringing him back, because I think he's done a hell of a job.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in depth tomorrow. I definitely something I want to talk about more tomorrow. But for Scoop, for Brandon, for myself, Robert, watch the game and go get some sleep, guys, because this is probably the only Sunday left until the end of the year that we're going to be this early.
Oh, I was like, where are you going with that? And then
at least for the next 2 weeks.
I don't know. I drink a lot of coffee this afternoon, so I might just go play more of that save on PS5 that you gave me for the college football.
Oh my Seton Hall save that I gave you guys. It's
guys, if anyone out there plays college football on PlayStation, Rob does
or
bang
Xbox.
up or Xbox.
It's
Rob
on
does
Xbox too.
a bang up job on these what do you call them? These creative teams or whatever the hell they're called.
I gotta make more. I just don't have any ideas. So if anyone has any ideas for more general stuff I can create, let me know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to say thank you again for that because holy smokes, that's been so much fun the last couple days.
I literally took me 4 hours because that website is awful. I'm just gonna say it straight off.
Yeah,
that website is one of the worst websites in human history.
That website's crap. I mean, it looks. Whoever designed that website,
it's not EA. It's someone else, and I have no clue who the other company is.
My point is just whoever designed that website makes Craigslist look like the newest thing on the market.
Oh God.
It like this things like Java and Flash and all this stuff are clearly foreign to whoever designed this freaking website.
Well, Flash isn't a thing anymore.
I know that tells you how freaking antiquated it looks and is.
Oh my God! All right, well, for Brandon, Scoop, and myself, once again, we will see you tomorrow. With Shane joining us for Das Boot and all the other fun stuff. So
good. I'm glad we're gonna have
tomorrow.
Back.
Yes. All right. Well, peace out, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
See you, everybody.
See ya.